Hey everyone, a very good evening, a very good night in whichever part of the world you are. Here I am, Devan Srivastav from the Youth Project, and let us wait for around 2 or 3 minutes for our colleagues to join, and then we will start our today's session. We will proceed where we have left the last time, and I'm pretty much sure that you guys are learning something and you're enjoying these sessions. And feel free to approach any of us, like any of our team members. There is Gaurav, there is like me, Shubham, uh, anyone. You can reach out, Emmanuel, okay, and discuss any kind of problems you are facing or any kind of challenges you are having. We'd love to solve those things for you. And we'll wait for another 2 minutes and then we'll start. Let me meanwhile open the, the file which I left where I left the last time, right? So even though yesterday Gaurav has taken care of many of the topics, we'll quickly revise and we'll quickly move on to to the further parts of our web page. And yes, so this was the place where we were, and we understood the concepts of containers and IDs, right? But today we would be taking this a bit further. Let me open the Visual Studio Code. Okay. Okay. Hmm. So I was here, and I created three containers. That is the header container, the middle section container, and the footer container, right? And in the footer, for the header, we had five child elements. Okay, we had two child elements for the middle info container and one child element for the footer info container, right? So now what we'll go on and do is, I provided IDs to each containers, right? And we have understood the concept of parent and child. So what we will begin with is a basic outline of margin and padding, and then we will look, like, dive a little bit deeper into flex and how flex work and stuff like that. And then we will do something with the tables, like we will also use some bootstrap. We'll see how these bootstrap, like how the bootstrap is implemented, so that if in future, if you uh, decide to use bootstrap in your product, in your project, then you will be very much comfortable in using. We'll see a basic flavor of that with the tables. And also, if we get time, then we will see a bit of, like, we will try to embed a Google form into our website, so that we will have a contact form, and then we will have a table which will show our events, upcoming events. Okay, so yes. uh, hmm. Now, we as we discussed that okay, as we discussed that the parent-child relationships are created whenever we create a web page, right, in HTML. So over here, what we will do is we will attach an ID. We have already did we have already attached an ID, and we also saw that here I can apply this kind of thing like style, and I can say font size equals to 10 px or something like that. I can apply a lot of style in this particular line, and this is called inline style. Okay, whenever we apply a style attribute, okay, style attribute, it is called inline CSS. Okay, CSS stands for cascading style sheets. I hope you all know, right? So this is the inline CSS. Now what we will see is the internal CSS. The second type of CSS is the internal CSS. Internal CSS is the CSS which is written inside this style tag. Okay, and this style tag is written inside the head. Okay, so we'll see how we'll write the internal CSS. Okay, and before that, let me show you the concepts of like a flex a little bit. But yesterday also we discussed a flex, like flex in brief, and today let's start quickly with the flex only. And but before that, the major topic and the most important topic is margin and padding. You need to understand what is the margin and what is padding. Okay, so one thing which we see over here, if you see that the this whole content of the HTML, the body content, whatever is written inside the body, there is a gap in between, right? So what I have to do is, what I will do inside the style tag, my body, right? I've given the ID as my body, right? So ID my body over here. I'll say that margin equals to 0 px, right? So by this, what I'm doing is I'm saying my body element, my body element, this element to keep the margin from its parent as 0 pixel. What does it mean? Now, if you refresh the page, you will see, just a minute, I've done some mistake in this. So here, over here, I have applied body margin 0 and 0 px. Okay, I have did a typo over here. I have to write B in the uppercase and 0 px here. And when I refresh, then I will see that okay, my page is now okay. I will zoom. Okay. Sometimes what happens is whenever I zoom, then people can complain that the screen is hanging. So I will zoom for the next time. So here you see what I did. I give ID to this particular element as my body, and I applied a style over here, hash my body as margin 0 pixel. Okay, so what I'm saying is that by saying that okay, margin as 0 pixel, what does this mean? So as we discussed the parent-child relationship that day, right? So let me draw this for you over here. So this is your screen, right? And this whole thing is your body. Okay. So this is your body element. Okay. Now, when I gave the ID my body to this particular element, right? and I said that margin is 0 pixel. Okay, so what does that mean? That immediate parent of this body, that is this particular window, right? This particular window, you have to keep 0 pixel distance from your parent of your margin. So this is the border, this is the border which you see of the body element. And what I said is that you have to keep 0 pixel margin or distance between your border and your parent's border. Okay, so similarly, what I can do is I can give here is my header container, right? Header container here, right? So if I give a margin in this particular thing as 5px, let's see what happens. See that your particular, this particular div, this particular element, like this particular element, who was the immediate parent of this? Okay, who was the immediate parent of this particular div? This my body, right? Okay, from and here at the bottom, who was outside, like, I'm sorry, I fumbled a bit. See over here, if you see, then who is immediate outside of this particular div is the body, right? Who from the bottom, if you see, then then who is just bottom of this, that this particular middle info section, right? So we by applying this margin as 5px, okay, I'm saying that you have to keep your distance from your outer elements as 5px. Okay, now you see, if I apply padding as 10px, let's see what happens. Okay, so if you notice particularly that padding and margin are not getting applied, like margin you see over here is getting applied, right? But padding is not getting applied. Why this is happening? Okay, so this is because that padding means the inside distance of the child. Like, let's say I give here, I give a ID to this, that logo one. Then I say, okay, here, what I'll say is adding. So you will see that this particular div is now keeping a distance of 10 pixels from its parent, right? So you have to understand here that, like, margin means the distance of outer border, that is the border with the immediate parent of the same div, and padding means the internal distance from the border of that div. So here the margin is of this container, right? Of header container. So from this particular header container, we have told logo one to keep a distance of 10 pixel. Okay. So similarly, if I apply ID to this logo one, right, and I refresh the page, what you will see that second element has also pulled itself 10 pixel from the parent, right? So this is happening like the margin is from the outside, the border distance from the parent, and padding is when you say that the internal contents have to stay this much pixels away from the border of that element, of the same element. I'm not talking about the parent, I'm talking about the same element. Okay, so I want that all these things, all these particular things must have a padding of 10 pixel. But before that, they are not looking good, right? They are not looking in a vertical fashion. So there is a concept called flex for this. So what happens is these particular child, these particular children's. Let me remove the margin from this. Okay. And okay, so these particular children, these individual divs don't know how to get aligned in a horizontal fashion. So for that, there is a concept of CSS called flex. Okay, now what I have to do, just remember a rule of thumb that flex are always and ever applied to the parent. Okay, so how you have to apply the flex? Let me tell you. Here is our header container, that is the parent. You just have to say display flex. Okay, now you will see a difference that all your elements have been aligned in this fashion, right? So when you apply the property flex, like display flex to your parent, all the children become the flex boxes and they have to follow the guidelines of a flex. Okay, like what I mean by guideline is, let's say there are multiple properties like flex direction. Okay, so what you have to do, what your assignment is, you have to check what happens in each and everything. Like by default we are in horizontal fashion, but what if I want in row? So I can do flex direction as row. Now let's see, I'm consciously doing it, I myself doing it. Okay, so row means I'm applying in a row, right? And what if I do as column? Let's see. Right now what I'm doing is I'm consciously applying the alignment as vertical, like in a column, right? Similarly, in the advanced use cases, you will see row reverse, column reverse. Okay, you have to you have to do some practical on your own, and you will see how those work, how those things works. So basically, the flex is always and ever applied on the parent. The first rule of thumb. And second, we can specify these now, as the parent has said its children that now that I have been declared as a flex, you just have to follow some guidelines. Okay, those guidelines are flex direction as this. Now there are some more guidelines of flex, like justify content. Okay, you will see multiple options over here. Justify content. Okay, see you see multiple options over here, right? Flex and flex start. Okay, so let's do this thing. Let's see what happens. Something happens or not. Okay, first let me align these in the row fashion only, and then let's refresh. You will see that all the elements which were aligned in a row, they have moved to the end of your flex, right? So this is the way. Okay, so I have told my children to follow my, like not my children, but the children of this container, this parent, to display in a row, number one. Then the justification of the content is as a flex end, right? And the end of the flex. So this is the basic concept of flex. And then you have multiple options to make it look good. So space between, space around. Let me use space around, and let's see how it looks now, right? Okay, so this is the thing, and it is pretty much pretty much straightforward, but it does not still looks like how I want to look it like, right? Here what I have to do is, as I am having 4 children, or sorry, 5 children of this header, what I have to do is I have to make these two into one group type Nigeria, like into one parent. So I will create one sub, one child, which will have in turn 2 more children's. Okay, so let's do that. So what I will do, I will, to group these two things, I will go down there. I have to zoom, I'm sorry. Here, and I just have to create this thing as one more div, and I will say that this is my brand hyphen logo. Okay, so this is my div in which I will uncover or enclose the type Nigeria logo. Okay, and in the second, I also like the other part of the content, I will take one more div here. Okay, what I will name it as, I will name it as navigation links. Okay, let me do the proper indentation so that you can understand your code. ID equals to navigation links, right? So what I've done is I've just linked, I have enclosed these two in a single parent and these three in the single parent. Okay, so now simply what I will do, uh, let's see, here I will apply the same flex thing to this brand logo as well. So let me first check. See, now you see, because I have I have enclosed these two into two divs, right? So now this header container has only two main children's. Okay, and that's why the flex which we applied earlier on 5 children, that particular flex property is now being applied on these 2 children, like brand logo and navigation links. Okay, so now what I have to do is, see over here, I can see that these two are like look fine, but again these two are the child of brand logo, and these three are the childs of children of the navigation link, right? Now what I have to do, I just have to again declare that this particular parent is a flex again. Okay, so let me do that. Oh, I forgot this. Okay, let me go. Okay, so here is the brand logo, and what I will say, I will say that this is a flex as well. And similarly, this thing, your navigation links is also flex, right? So now let's see what is the change. Okay, this looks a little better, right, than before. So here we have a flex which has two children, a flex which has these three childrens. Okay, now let us style our header a bit, and let's try to make it a little bit more uh, beautiful. So what I will do is, first I will increase the width of this header. So to increase the width of this header container, what I have to do is I just have to go and say that, hey, buddy, you have to have a height of, let's say, 70 pixel. Okay, and oh, okay, it's quite big, right? Okay, let me decrease it to around 50. Right. Okay, this looks good. Now, what I will say is that I want this particular div to have um, the alignment of, I'm sorry, the color of this text must be white. Okay, so what I will do, okay, now the color of the text which is present inside, okay, the the color of the whole text which is present inside is now white. Okay, so this is how you have to move step by step. Again, you want all the fonts as, let's say, all the fonts in your web page as family, Arial, or Sego UI. I don't know which it is present or not, but you can apply the font as this, like to the whole body. You can apply your fonts, and in this way, and let us see again. Okay, so it is slowly looking in the way which you want it. Now let's do one thing. Let us give some height to this particular box as well, and this box has an ID as middle info container, right? So to the middle info container, what I will do, I will say that what you do is take a height as 400 px. So I will give better. I will give 550. Okay, and the lower section, I will say that you take a height of, let's say, 20 px, right? And I will change the color as well. Okay, so it looks like this now. Now what you have to do is, your all the elements are stuck on the top, right? So what you have to do is, you have to tell them that, hey, please take some padding from your boundaries. So what we will do is we will just give padding inside these, like the brand logo. Here is the brand logo. We'll try to give the padding. Mm, let's see if it works. Right. So it has come down, and similarly to the navigation links, we will say that take a padding of 10 px. Let me give 14 or 15. Okay, 15 px. Similarly over here. So in this way, your content is now looking like this. And now what you have to do is you have to have these two boxes in the middle, right? So instead of having just text, now let me see my middle, the middle content box. Okay. And so what exactly that is? First of all, let me remove the background color so you will have a better context, right? So now I have this, these two things in the middle over here. Now, what I will say is, hey, middle info container, you are also a flex, and your child have to follow the uh, the guidelines, right? So display flex in the middle info container as well. So you will see that now both the childs are now by default has fallen into a guideline that we have to align ourselves in a horizontal fashion. Okay, so let's see over here. Now what I will do is I will remove this particular text. Okay, let's not remove this, but I will give a border, and then in the last what I will do, I will remove the text. So first let me give id to this. Id equals to, let's say, pretty much these things were covered tomorrow, but let me cover this one more time. So sign up as a gn up box. Okay. And here id equals to, let's say, content or video box, I don't know, video box. Okay. Okay, so here it is. Now what I will do, I will apply the id. I will apply my styles to these. Say gene up box here, and what I will say is you take a height, HP height as 400 px. Very important thing which will help you throughout your CSS journey. I'm going to tell you that here sign up box, and then our second was video box, right? Here I will say again you take a height as 400 px. Okay. And what I will do is now what I want is let me check out if this works. Now you see that even though I have given the height and all, but these are like not working in the way we have expected, right? They're not building into a box, right? So what I have to do is I will use the concept of like border. Okay, I will give a property 1 px solid here again, I will do. Let's see what happens. Okay, I have done some mistake, I guess. Here in the sign up box, the video box, here I have applied the border as one and sign up. Mhm. Let me let me check once more that okay, div one, div two, and the body container as the middle info container. I have applied flags and okay, it looks fine to me, but middle section sign box. Okay, so let us refresh our page once more, and you see that this is something like something has went wrong with our boxes, even though the borders have been created, and these are like here we have applied the sign up box and all, the height and all, but the boxes which are created are in the wrong place. So let us check out what we have done wrong over here. If I if I see card. Middle info container display flex and okay, I have to like apply some or the other guidelines on my flex here, and I have to tell them like what is the ratio in which you have to apply, like in which you have to separate yourself, like let's say our screen is of 100% width, right? So I will say that you take two. I'm sorry, I'm writing the code in the wrong thing. I just want to give sign up box as next two. I want to give two parts of my screen to sign up box and one part of the screen as, let us check once more. Otherwise, what we will do is will have to remove this particular part, or yeah, over here. Okay, let's check out once more. Okay, it still does not work, but I am doing some small mistake. Like the code is also a bit clumsy over here. Okay, I'm applying the style, but I have not I have not given the ID. I guess I'm giving the ID at the wrong place. If you see, that is the problem, man. Okay, yes, it's in the header. So guys, I'm really sorry, but it's like 1:15 of the night, and you have to expect such kind of things at this moment because it's too late. Just for your convenience, we have shifted like our classes to this. Okay, I will remove this particular thing from here, and we are good to go. Okay, now you see that yes. So I've given the two parts of my screen to the image box, like to this particular flex box, and one part of the screen to this particular flex box, right? Now we will do some more things, and we will do over here itself. Let's check out. So what you, just to make your things easier, what you have to do is you have to right click on your web page, and you have to right click on the web page and you have to click inspect, and over here you will find on the left hand side that okay, here is the thing, sign up box, and here you have your this thing. Yeah, so you have your sign up box and the style over here, and for your video box the style is over here. So what you have to do to avoid such kinds of such kinds of problems, just first edit like some styles. Let's apply some, let's say, margin. Okay, let me apply 40 px. Let's see what happens. Okay, so now you will see that your box has taken a margin from all sides as 40, right? Similarly, what you can do, you can reduce this margin to, whenever I zoom in, there is some problem. Okay, here. So let me give a margin of 30 over here. And to this element, the sign up box, let us give a margin of, let's say, 30 again. Let's see how it looks like. Okay, I'm again giving it the wrong place. Actually, this zoom is like very clumsy zoom over here. So let me, sign up box, here is that margin, right? And I'll say 30. Okay, so now you will see that your both the boxes, and by mistake I have given the margin to the body, but I have to again do it 0. So 0 px. Okay, so now you see that your web page is looking like this. And now what we have to do is we have to yeah, thanks Yamini for reminding me. And what we have to do is we have to do a little bit these and that's, and then we will be good to go. And let's check out, let's apply something over here as well. So in the footer container, let's apply like a single property, color. One thing is color, so the internal things are white, right? And what I would say is again display flex. Just use flex, your life would be very easy. And justify content, center. What I have to do is I have to align the things in center. Let's see if this works. Otherwise, what we will do is we will explicitly align the things in center. So you will see that over here the things are aligned in center. But whatever CSS I wrote in the inspect element section, right? It is gone. Like our boxes are again like stuck on the top, right? So for that, what I have to do is whenever I refresh the page, that particular design which I did in the console is lost. Okay. So what I will do, I will just write that particular design over here. Here is my video box. I will say that, okay, take a padding, take a margin, sorry, margin of 30 px. Margin. Video box as 30 px. Okay. W4. Also, what we will do is navigation links. I will say that displays flex and justify your content as space around. Now you see, you will see a few changes on our web page, right? And also over here in the footer section, what I will say is you take a padding of npx maybe. Let's see. Okay. So now you will see that your web page is looking quite similar to what we were expecting. Okay. But actually what I want you guys to what I want you guys to do is like till now you must be able to create like this, and the top branding, the color of this, the fonts of these we will take care tomorrow. But before that I want to tell you a bit of CSS. Okay, like sorry, a bit of bootstrap tables. Like you are aware of tables. I hope you have. Let us do one thing. Let us create one more page over here. What we'll do is upcoming .html. Okay, so what I will do, I'll create the basic structure. I will write the code over here, head, right, on my new page, and here I will write body, and yes. Now what you have to do, you know the basic structure of a table, right? You have, or let me tell you. So your table looks something like this, right? Okay. So these are the individual rows, and these are the column, the data cells. Okay. So what is said, what exactly it is that this thing is tr, and this particular the inside thing is td. Okay, sorry, td. So this particular table contains 3 tr tags and 3 into 4, 12 td tags. Okay, now let's check out. Let's build a table over here. First of all, let me give a title to this. We'll quickly upcoming sessions. Okay, and over here, let me create one h1, that is next sessions. Okay, sessions, and here I will create a basic table, that is a table tag. So, okay, and inside this table tag, I will write table row and the um, I mean sessions. Okay, date, the date. Again, what I will do, I will just copy this tr, create another row, and I will create another row, right? So what you will see when I click over here, reveal in the file explorer, and I open the upcoming page. So you will see that, there is something created, but it is not quite like quite looking like a table. So again, what I have to do, I have to specify over here border. Now what you will see is this, right? So this is your table which you have created just now, and this is the first row, this is the second row, and this is the third row, right? Now I don't like, we don't believe in all the like you must not work very hard without your brains. Okay, I can easily go and apply a lot of CSS over here. Okay, we can apply the CSS and make this table look beautiful. But why to do that? Because there are many libraries which are already created for you. Like if you type over here uh, Bootstrap 3 tables. Okay, then what you will see is there are some beautiful tables which are already created by Bootstrap, but you must know how to use them, right, in your particular code. So what you have to do, if you like this one, or let's say if you like this particular one, you can take this one or this. I like personally this one, the hover rows, right? So what I will do, I will go there. Now to include the bootstrap into your web page, what you have to do is inside the head tag, you have to import some of the settings which are already created, some of the files which are already created for you, some of the css which they have already written for you. Now what I will do, I will just copy this particular thing, okay, over here in the head section. I will paste these 4 lines into my head section, and you see what I will do. I will just apply one class now, and I'm sorry, 2 class in fact. Like in the first div, I have to apply this particular class, and in the second div, in the table tag, I have to apply this particular class. Now you will ask me that where are these classes coming from? These classes are coming from these files which are already written by the Bootstrap developers. Okay, so now that you have applied this class to your table, and you will add one div over here as your container, right? Your container, and you will apply class container, right? Let's see what happened to our web page. Now you see that your table has started to look better than before, right? And you just have written 4 lines of code. So that's like a effective programmer is, that's like how an effective programmer works. He know how to reuse instead of reinventing the wheel. You must know how to use the things. If you know how the things are working, like how the css is developed, as we already taught you, like in this way the css is getting developed. But wherever you have a choice that you can use the external resources, you must quickly use them, and you must know how these things work. Now you must have a question in your mind that, okay, you say that this particular css is written somewhere. So where it is written? It is written in an external css file which is hosted over here. If you see this particular line, link rel, rel is an attribute. Okay, we tell that whatever we are linking, this is a style sheet, we are linking to a style sheet, and here href. So href stand for hyperlink reference, and in the value of this attribute we have given the url of this css file where this particular class is declared. Okay, this particular class is created, right? The style for this particular class is created. Now the quick question which you must have in your mind is, I have only dealt with the ids over here. Now there is one more concept called class. Okay, so it is like, let's say you are in a classroom, okay, and in your college, and there are students, there are individual students. I have applied the ids, as I told you that ids are used for the individualistic separation of each element, right? Similarly, class is applied wherever we need a group. Okay, because why we do this is, let's say I want to apply same style to 2 elements. Okay, I want to apply same style to 2 elements. So what I will do is id as style, okay, and id as style. If I don't know the core concept of ids and classes, I will do this thing. But id is a unique thing, and each student in a class has a unique id, right? So that's why what you have to do in such a case, when you have to apply a single style onto multiple elements, you have to use a class. Even though if you write this code, it will not show any error because it is an interpreted language. Okay, yeah, okay. So, but what you have to use is class, because you have to apply the same style to multiple elements. Okay, so this is the basic concept of class. And to write the style of any class, let's say I want to write the style inside this. So as you did with the as you did hash with the id, as you applied hash with the id over here in the footer container, right? Similarly, when you want to write the css for your class, what you have to write is dot class name. So my class name is style, and I've applied the dot operator over here. And now I can go on and write anything like font size, any css I can write 10px, right? And this particular css will be applied to all the elements to which this style class has been applied to. Okay, so this is the concept, and this is the concept of classes. And these ids and classes are called selectors. So tomorrow in any interview or something, if someone asks you that tell me something about selectors, so you have to talk about ids and classes. Okay, what are the significant of these things. And the best coding practice say that you must never apply a single id to multiple elements. Why? Because in the future, what you will need to do is you have to use javascript. And in javascript, what you have to do is, if you have to refer elements by their id. And if you apply a single id to multiple elements, then that particular method, like document.get element by id, there is a method we will discuss in future. But when you will try to refer a particular id, it will find multiple elements, and then it will start showing you errors. Okay, so this is the coding practice which you need to follow. So I think for today we are enough. Like, you have seen how to use the Bootstrap table in your code in your web page. And what you have to do is, as part of today's assignment, you have to check the exact usage of this particular Bootstrap table, and you have to create your own table over here with particular, with proper headings and all. And yes, send me the screenshots of your work, and then let's meet tomorrow again. If you have any doubt, if you have any problems with this, then you can we will talk more on this. Like, we will talk more on the css part tomorrow. But if you have any problem with the timings or with anything else, with you are facing any issues with the html, you can ping us personally or on the group, and then will surely solve your problem. Okay, so it's almost like one 1:30 over here in India. So thank you so much for joining in. A very good night, a very good evening, and please forgive my look because it's night over here. And thank you so much for joining in. See you tomorrow. Thank you so much. Good night.